Thank you. And the week, has it been with you?
Very fine, very good.
Okay.
Fine.
There's no much cases.
The magistrate court, the lower courts are in session, but there's vacation.
Okay, I see. But there's no day that you lawyers don't have a case.
Yeah. I think it's just to make the society better and safer.
Yeah. Just on a lighter mood. Yeah, thank you. Yes, without much ado, last week, when after the show, I think I told you there's a man that drove straight to the studio. He said he wanted to meet you regarding what we discussed last week. I say, oh, the lawyer is not here. Maybe before the end of the show, we will. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay. I said last week after the show, there's one of the listeners that rushed to the studio after the program that I said wanted to meet you, and I said, "Oh, you are not here." It's just through the phone call. So maybe before we end the show, we'll roll out your contact if you don't mind, so that people can contact after the show.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. So last week we were able to delve with the issue of the tenant right under the law. So today we want to pick it up from there, the landlord right under the law. So what are the landlord rights under the law, Barrister?
Well, this morning I will begin from the right of the landlord to rent.
Okay.
That's the landlord has a right to lay claim on his rent. He has a right to be able to state the amount I will charge. And last week we delved into the wrong notion of noticing that are entitled to live in a property after the expiration of your tenure and still not pay. But that's not true. The landlord has the right to make claim on rent, which in the subsisting tenure it is called rent, but when it becomes something that you are owing the landlord, it becomes arrears of rent. And then if it's something that you are now in court, you are laying claim, he wants to claim his ownership, the ownership of the property back, then it becomes means profit.
Okay.
Are we together?
I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's all about the fact that the landlord is entitled, has a right to his rent. And one attached to it is the fact that the landlord has a right to take possession back from the tenants.
Okay.
So he still has that right of ownership, which means that he has a right to take possession back. Either he does that by reason, but one of the major ways is that he has to go to court to make claim.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. That would be a law backing regarding that.
No, yes. There has to be an order of court backing that. He cannot resort to self-help. His right is guaranteed under the law, yes, but to enforce it, he has to approach the court, and that can come in during the expiration of the tenancy or by reason of a breach of contract. Probably in the contract there is something you are meant to do and you are not supposed to do this, then he has a right to that. And then attached to that is also a right that the landlord has a right to recover his possession in a tenantable.
I'm with you. Okay. We're trying to reconnect back. Barrister, are you there?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem. Go on.
I said the landlord has the right to recover his possession, and that the apartment must be in a tenantable condition.
Okay.
That means that if the house that you are taking, you as the tenant, when you are giving back possession to the landlord, it has to be in the same way he gave it to you. At least that's the lowest condition. In terms of that when you moved into the property, you were able to stay there and live there. So when you are moving out, the apartment should not be in a way that there's nobody that can go and stay there again. And one of the things that I think I can profile is the fact that when a landlord is giving his apartment house, let an inventory be taken.
Okay. What are that means what are the things that the tenant meet, and if he's living, what are the things that he has to? Okay.
Yes, because at that point, if the apartment has been destroyed or damaged, then the landlord has a right to compensation.
Okay.
Before the court of law, he has a right to sue and declare and demand for damages from such tenant. That these things were spoiled. But if there's no inventory, it becomes a matter of I didn't meet it here, I didn't meet that. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why it's becoming a tradition in our tenancy scope of operation now, that you find that you take a percentage of the rent amount as caution fee.
Okay.
And you find out that they tell you that when you are moving out and you didn't spoil anything, we give you the money. And it's just a contractual way of solving that tenants leave apartments, and then it's a loss to the landlord because it needs to repair a whole lot of things before somebody else can move in.
But that's sorry, barrister. That caution fee, practically, do you think is always been practicalized? Because I have not seen a tenant that's living in the house and they leave the house the way it is, and the landlord return back the caution fee. But I don't see it's been put in place in most places. Though I would say through my own experience and what I've been hearing or saying, that the landlord will return the caution fee, even though the tenant didn't even damage anything in the house or left the house the way. Even some tenant will even do more in the house, painting, repair some things. But this law has not really been in place. What do you think?
Well, there's no law as to that, but it's a contractual relationship, a contractual agreement between parties.
But the other party doesn't refund back the money, or is it the tenant that doesn't even?
Sometimes tenants don't demand for it.
Okay. Yes.
Sometimes tenants just believe that I'm leaving the apartment. Let me just leave and go away.
Okay.
And sometimes,
I see.
Sometimes tenants also, because they're in arrears of rent or something like that, those things becloud them.
They will just
let go. Ask for it. You understand? But it should be something that the landlord is meant to refund if the apartment is returned in a good condition.
I see.
If in a good condition, the tenant has a right to recover such an amount, because the purpose is for you to be able to repair certain things there. It's not for your enjoyment.
Okay. So the tenant has a right to demand the money if everything is intact. Okay.
To demand for it, and if it's demanding for it and there's no payments, it's not giving the amount, then it can make a claim to it in the court of law.
Okay, fantastic. So what other right does the landlord have apart from the ownership of his properties and to chase the tenant away if he misbehave under the law?
Well, majorly those are the rights of the landlord, as it were.
Okay.
You understand? These are the rights of the landlord. And last week we already talked about the fact that the landlord has let me mention this also, that the landlord has a right to carry out periodic inspection.
When you say periodic inspection, can you define that? Is it go inside the tenant house? Okay, I want to inspect the house. Let me check your bedroom. Let me check your toilet.
Of course,
that's on the lighter mood.
it cannot do so much as to affect the privacy of the tenant.
Yes.
So the major thing he can just check are just the major fixtures in the house.
Okay.
And then, like we said last week, there has to be prior notice given to the tenant, and on no account should the landlord use his extra key and go and open the apartment without the tenant consent. So that one is also something that he must take note. He must take note. So, and then, just like I said last week, that the tenant has to pay for waste. So the right of the landlord is also to lay claim and to ask for payment for waste that are used.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about this issue regarding tenant who want to rent a house, and is there a specific percentage amount that an agent or landlord must collect from a tenant? Because you hear some people, they want to collect house, and the money you paid, the caution fee, the commission, agency commission, this and that, is almost 50% of the old rent. Is there a specific percentage that an agent must collect?
I think that's one thing where, just like I said last week, that legislation must be progressive. Because you find out that, in fact, in some quarters right now, agency fee is now about 20%.
Wow.
And that's because you want to take an apartment of 350,000 and you are made to pay 500,000 for the first year.
Wow.
Because you are paying 10% for legal, 10% caution, and 20% for agency.
That's almost 50%.
You understand? So, well, there's no regulation, and that's the major issue. Well, the 10% is stemming from the fact that legal fee, legal documentations, and all that.
Understandable.
For legal instruments, it's 10%. So that's the strength of what agents have now relied upon. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just because the issue is there is no regulation. I just came to know that agents have a body where they meet and all that. You understand? So, but there's no regulation to it, and that's the major issue that we are having, which legislation ought to control.
Yeah, go on.
I'm with you.
Go on.
Yeah, because the major thing the agent is doing is acting for the landlord.
Oh, yes.
It's the landlord that the agent, so it should be the landlord that should be paying.
Exactly. You see, I've been, exactly. I've been, for
the landlord.
So is the landlord
not acting for the tenant?
Yeah. So is the landlord that's supposed to pay the agent out of the money that he collects?
Yes.
So not the agent imposing that kind of percentage on the tenant.
Percentage on the tenant. But one thing is, if you don't play along with the agent, you find out that you won't get house.
That is
because the letter that the landlord is to you. You see where the issue is. Though in terms of property management, for the first year is the tenant that pays, and then the second year, subsequent years, the tenant still takes 10% of the rent from the landlord.
Wow.
So, but the issue is the fee, the burden that is being placed on the people is too much.
It's too much. So, regarding your expertise, what do you think can be done to salvage this issue?
Well, okay, let me read this provision out.
Okay.
Section 3 of the residential accommodation in bracket rent control law of Oyo State. That's in volume 5, the laws of Oyo State 2000. It says the governor may from time to time by order classify areas, zone, categories, or types of residential accommodation in the state and direct that the provision of the law shall apply to such areas, zones, category, or types of residential accommodation, and thereupon this law shall apply accordingly. Now, 4 subsection 1 says, the governor may by order fix the maximum rent payable for any residential accommodation to which this law applies. Either specifically or by reference to areas, zones, categories, or types. Do you understand now? This is just to say that the governor can make an order. There's that provision of the law. But of course, I'm very sure that some persons might be hearing this law for the first time. Do you understand?
Please, can you rephrase? Can you rephrase that? I want my listener to hear that sentence. That statement.
Because some persons can be hearing about this law for the first time. That the governor may order the maximum rent payable in a zone, in a residential accommodation. But you see, that's where the nakuna is, that there's not so much of execution of laws, as it were. And in some of these provisions, we should have been able to bring it to terms with what is obtainable now.
So what you're saying is that the governor of a state can say, okay, the maximum rent you can collect in this place or so place is 1 year, is 6 months or 2 years. Is that what you're saying?
No, it can fix the rate.
Okay, it can fix the rate.
Yes, the maximum rent.
But why?
So it can say for instance, let me say for instance, I don't want to mention areas in Ibadan so that I don't.
No. Okay, let's example. Just you can mention. Orisubari. Let's say Orisubari.
Orisubari. Okay, government can say, okay, apartment here, 3 bedroom, this type, 500,000.
Okay, that means it must not pass 500,000 naira.
It must not pass 500,000 naira.
Okay.
So it helps because one of the, if you go to chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution, one of the things that's the social responsibility of the government is also to help in ensuring there's welfare, the welfare of the people. And one of the part of the welfare is also housing. So it's something so there's this provision. Do you understand? But we must bring it home to, and that's one of the things why I appreciate programs like this. We must bring it home back to the government. We must bring it home back because the landlord and tenancy has been left alone to operate majorly on contractual agreements.
Exactly.
So if you choose to accept it, fine, you are bound. If you choose not to accept it, go, there's no problem. But the government needs to intervene. The government needs to come in to do. You understand? So this is So that's one thing we can look at, and then there's a provision of the law on tribunals. Though we don't use rent tribunals for now, magistrate courts does that.
Okay.
But you feel that the governor can actually intervene. So my suggestion is let's our legislation. In fact, as I was coming, I just thought about it that it would be bad to put up a bill and push it to our House of Assembly so that we know that this is things that concerns people, it concerns the populace. Then somebody should not just sit in their house and say, okay, 20%, 30% of, because there are some areas that you find out that you are paying double.
Exactly, that's my point. you are paying a house rent of 250, and at the end of the day, the amount you pay going to 500,000 naira.
500,000. That's outside service charge.
It's even better here in Ibadan. If you go to Lagos, outrageous.
So we need the intervention. We need the intervention of the legislature in terms of making of laws that are up to date. And we also need the intervention, because we need the intervention of the government. But where I'm also looking at, because as a lawyer I have to think of a thought, I have to look for both sides, is that the landlords will come up and say, okay, did the government help me to build my house?
Aha, that's the statement. I own my house, so I can decide whatever I want to do with it.
Exactly. So of course, but that's one thing that the legislature can take care of. That if such laws are coming out, spread it around, let landlords come, let's hear their feedback, and of course I'm very sure we can always have a common ground that we can peg it, because the issue is not even with the landlord, as it were, is with the agency fee.
Yeah.
On this amount that is becoming something else.
I even heard that there was sometime, maybe when I was in Lagos, that all the real estate agents, they have to be registered. I don't know here in Ibadan for now, but in Lagos they have to register, because because you wake up every day. Everybody can just wake up one day and say, "No, I'm not agent. I'm now an agent." Without so how do we curb this nuisance in the society? Because everybody just wake up and say, "I'm an agent," and you see them. You contact an agent to get you an apartment. An agent contact another agent, and then another agent a chain of agents, like 4 or 5 chains of agents. So by the time they start spending the money, it's terrible. It's terrible.
We might have to import some certain things from Lagos, but primarily before, when I looked at the history, I might be wrong, but from my own study, is that 2 major people you find, or 2 major professions you find doing agency before, were the surveyors and the lawyers. So you find out that registered, they are also regulated.
Yeah.
Now, I can speak for a lawyer that even if a lawyer charges you and you feel, oh, this charge is too outrageous, there are processes you can take that the body, the controlling lawyers, can even tell the lawyer to revisit that bill. So, and then also for surveyors. So there were those bodies, but now that we are having people that are taking it as a business, as a truth, but there is nobody. So we have to import a regulation. We have to look out for a regulation, a body that must cater for such things, such acts. One of the things, agent asking from an agent, from another agent, is one of the reasons why they are now taking 20%. So the principal agent, that's the agent for the landlord, takes 10%, and the other persons they share the 10%. So it's affecting. So the regulation, if I know I heard that they have 2 associations in Oyo State.
Okay.
So what I mean that, how can the government come in and ensure that there is a regulation for them? There are certain things that you can do. Some of them even take money and they go away with it.
Yes, we heard cases like that.
You understand? So you find out that it's because there's no regulation. It's because there's no rule. People can just wake up and say, I'm now an agent. Even with that, because for you to serve as an agent, you should have power of attorney from the landlord. Okay. That's the authority of the landlord given to you to act on his behalf. Some have to act. Some by the power of attorney. Majorly, when people ask for this, is when they want to buy, sale. If they are buying a property, one of the things due diligence you do is, if this person have the agent, where's the power of attorney? Let me know to what extent you have authority to go. There's in the power of attorney, the landlord told you, don't take rent. Just take the person to inspect, and then I take the rent. That's the major thing. But because of how would I put it, the fact that you might not get to see the landlord.
That is it.
You might not. You understand? So you find out that the people that have and people sometimes tenants even look at it and say, why am I bothering myself? How much is the money? Let me just pay and and go.
And go.
But you find out that for leases, those that are doing leases of 5 years, paying millions of that are particular about this. That okay, where you want to meet with the landlord, we are not no problem about what you want to take, but we want to know who the landlord is so that we know that we enter an agreement with the landlord.
Barrister, I want to ask you a question. Can a landlord also act as the agent?
No. That's a greedy landlord.
We've seen some landlords that will tell you that they will even tell you they're the owner of the house. They will just act as the agent, but they are the owner of the house because of the percentage they want to get. Is it tenable under the law for someone, maybe a tenant, that find out later that this is what the landlord have done? Is it tenable under the law? Is this suitable?
Yes, you can take them to court. That's this person, and of course you are going to be laying claim on the amount that was paid.
Okay.
That you paid for agency. You can.
Okay.
You can.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. We've been speaking with Barrister Toluwalashe Samuel Ogundeji, who's a barrister of law, and we've been talking about the landlord right under the law. We've talked about tenant rights under the law too last week, but the sequel to that's what we are treating to the part 2 of it. You can be part of the show to call in to ask any question. The number to call is 0915-2222-957, 0915-5555-957. Is there any question you want to ask regarding tenancy law or landlord or tenant you want to be clear about? Now is the opportunity for you to call 0915-2222-957, 0915-5555-957. You can call, you can use any language. Either you want to speak in Yoruba, is acceptable, okay? But I know some people are restricted to that, so you can use any language, Yoruba or English, to ask your question this morning. So I'm giving that opportunity out for us to do that. I still have with me Barrister Toluwalashe Samuel Ogundeji right here, so 95.7 FM, dealing with tenancy law and the right of the tenant and the landlord under the law. That's what we're talking about on the Legal Guide Wednesday on Soul Breakfast Show. Yes, Barrister, thank you for hanging on there.
Yes.
Now, I want to digress a bit. And my digression is about landed property, because when I finished the show last week, I had a lot of calls, a lot of text message about land, because I know we can't finish this today. Maybe I still have to bring you back to talk about that separately, but I just want us to just take the icing of the cake of this issue regarding landed property. What are the things, because this has been a major issue, you hear about land grabbers, about land killing, that, blah, blah, blah. Now, how do you know a genuine land? If you want to buy land, how do you know a genuine land, or what are the steps a buyer should take? What are the due diligence he must take or she must take to know that yes, this land I'm buying is genuine, and later 50, 60 years later I might not have issue with it?
All right. Well, I know this, but that question, to answer it directly, is something heavy.
Yeah, I know it's another topic entirely. But just let us.
About land grabbing, because I even did. There's a law in Oyo State now that forbids it. That's Real Properties Law of 2016.
Okay.
In fact, it already criminalized you selling to two people. A seller who sells the same land to two people, I think it's about.
Hello? Okay. Can you
hear me?
Yeah, can you repeat that?
Yeah. I said that because Real Properties Law, that for someone is now an offense for you to sell property to two people.
Okay.
same time. Why I'm putting out this law is because of the fact that you find out that when land issues happen and then you take it to the police, they tell you it's a land matter and all that. Yes, it is a civil matter rather. It's a civil matter, yes. But when you practice law, there are now conditions that where even if you act as an agent to somebody who knows that he doesn't have a title to sell that land, it's an offense under the law. So there's that real law 2016. Now, the genuinity of a land, and that's why I must commend the effort of the Oyo State government at the time in terms of homeowners to ensure that you document your property, you have seal of hold. Now, but there are some lands that are customary in nature.
Okay.
They don't have seal of hold. They don't have certificate occupancy either for the state or the local government. Because if for somebody that wants to buy a property, and the first thing you ask is what is the title on that land. When you take that title, sometimes that's we are talking about the seal of hold. That's still the best title you can have anywhere. But sometimes you can have traditional history. You understand where if it's a family land, then you are talking about who are the principal members, who is the mortgagee of the house. And even the mortgagee himself cannot sell the land alone. So who are the other principal members? So that you know that this is it. And then there's always this is not a legal way of doing it, but it's an informal way. Is that if possible, go into the land, get a tractor, and let them clear that place and wait.
Okay.
You have not paid.
Okay.
Tell them, I'll get guys to clear the place. As you are clearing, if it's not their home, the owner will show up.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's an informal way of testing. Testing the waters.
Now, wow.
It's the experience that has brought us to that point where we just try and do that. Let's see. Understand now. Now, if they give you the title, if there's a CFO on it, if there is a survey on it, they will give you a copy. Now, you take that copy, you get your lawyer to check it out for you at the Ministry of Lands.
Okay.
For every certificate of occupancy is always registered, it's documented with the ministry. The volume, the numbers is documented. Now they will check it there. Okay. So you do a background check apart from what the vendor is telling you. And then the survey also writes to the office of the Surveyor General, let them check it. Every survey has to have been lodged there. But what you find out is some people just do survey for the purpose of survey and it's not lodged with the Surveyor General's office.
So that's one of the mistakes.
That's one of the mistakes. That's one of the mistakes. So that will give you history, because sometimes you even want to buy a land that has been used to stand as a loan as collateral for loan. But every of this information, the Ministry of Lands will give it to you, because there's nobody that takes a loan from the bank. The bank will also put a deed of mortgage on it and register it on that land at the Ministry of Lands.
Okay, I see.
So, until you see a deed of release on that property, that's a deed of release makes you know that the bank is saying that this person borrowed money, but it's cleared now. Do you understand? So that's the major thing for a land that is well documented. The other ones, you might have to rely on history, you might have to rely on people around. Do a survey around the land, ask questions. You understand? Now, the person that is selling also asks, okay, you bought this land, where is the agreement document?
Deed of
transfer, sale agreement. You understand? So that you can be able to, at least if you cannot trust the parties, for every agreement you'll find out the lawyer wrote his name. the lawyer route is not. So sometimes you find the mobile number of the lawyer. Give a call to the lawyer. Do you understand? So, but in Ibadan, we still have some rural locations where you won't find lands that are documented.
Yeah, so I was about to ask him that question. There's some areas here in Ibadan that not even registered survey, not even document, no C of O, no governor concert, no, and they will just say what we have is a survey.
Exactly, and the survey might not even be registered. The survey might just be for us to know this is our land. So what you do in that way is just that you just have to get the deed of sale agreement, the sale agreement, and just look at it and then trust the information around, trust the history of the land, the history of the land.
So in that scenario, that means the buyer has to start the documentation on his own or her own to start processing for either government concert or COO.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
In that case, you have to start on your own and start processing it. That was why I commented, because sometimes people run away from document COO because it's expensive, and that was why I commended your state government for making it cheaper. But though it was for those that have buildings on their land, but if they can still look at something to do, you understand, so that the amount is made affordable for people that just buying land, so that we can be able to curb such issues. And then sometimes is the fact that some of these issues happen because you got a land and you just went to sleep about it. In a rural place, and you just want to know, even if it's a coach or something, ensure that you're not far from the place.
Even we can just do a fence.
We can just do a fence. Let them know that there's somebody here. Because of course, the those that will call Omonile, they are also looking for money. They are hungry.
Of course.
That was why I said that was why I put it out that there's real properties law 2016 that criminalizes such things. You cannot sell to two people at a time. I think it's something we should do.
All right, Barrister, we have a call. Let me pick this call.
All right.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Primate.
Thank you very much for this fantastic social benefit you have given to us this morning.
You're welcome, sir.
Pardon me, we have not come to sponsor this program. Honestly, I want to pray that God will open a sponsor to this aspect.
Amen to that. Thank you, sir.
It is a very large aspect. And I think by the time we start talking, we should be able to put some segment.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And then we should be able to do something about it. Now, the education is very clear this morning, and thank you to our resource person.
Thank you.
But I have 4 basic concerns.
Okay.
Communications this morning.
Okay.
Now, number 1 is there is no unifying law.
There's no?
There is no unifying law.
Okay, unified law, okay.
The law in Lagos State on tenants and landlords is not the same thing to what is obtainable in Ibadan.
Yes.
What is obtainable in Ibadan is not obtainable in Ogun State. Now, when this one now comes into play, how does the tenant now fight his right? Because if I have been an experienced person in Lagos, and now I am at Ibadan, I want to behave as a Lagos man in Ibadan. And they don't catch up with me. Or the resource person can even educate us.
Okay.
Are there unifying laws?
Okay.
Then the second question is about the religion and tenancy.
Okay.
Which is a very critical one.
That's another one.
I didn't get that. What
religious bias. That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
And tenancy, yeah. Okay.
And even landlordship.
Okay.
For instance, in the north, we have penal code there, which comes from India. And then we have criminal code in the east and the west. So when tenancy law now comes, and people now want to infuse religion entity or religious beliefs into it. So what does the law say?
Okay.
And then, for instance, in Lagos, there is a law that says there is operation no noise. Bring your loudspeaker, bring your everything into the house. So when it comes to that, is that not conflicting to religious norms and beliefs?
Okay.
Then my third question is on C of O's.
C of O, okay.
Which is the original?
Okay.
Because there is certificate of ownership, there is certificate of
Occupancy, yeah.
and there is a handwritten certificate. That people get on certificate of overseeing. You hold the land in a kind of agreement.
Okay.
And the certificate is issued between the landlord and you, the vendor.
Okay.
Now the last one
Yes, sir.
is the issue of the rumor that every land belongs to government,
Okay.
and that after certain years, the landlord comes back to government. Is it a fact or
That-
is it a rumor?
30, I think it's 99 years. The barrister will do justice to that.
Is it
Okay.
a fact or a rumor?
Okay.
Good morning, and once again, Soul FM, thank you for this fantastic job you are doing.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so
In
much.
our language, we say shalom.
Yeah, thank you. All right, barrister will do justice to your question. Thank you. All right, the number to call is 0915-2222-957. 0915-5555-957. Yes, barrister.
Okay.
Yeah, there are four.
Yeah.
There are four questions here that he asked. Quickly, let's take them one after the other. The first one, he said, "Is there a unified law regarding tenancy in Nigeria?" Because you find out that Lagos has its own law, Ibadan has its own. The one you have in Ibadan is different from the one you have in Ekiti. Is there a unified law regarding tenancy?
No, there's none.
There's none. Okay.
And we find roots in that in the Land Use Act.
Okay.
And Section 1 says, subject to the provisions of this act, all land comprised in the territory of each state in the federation are hereby vested in the governor of that state.
Okay. Clear. That is clear.
And such land can be held in trust and administered for the use and common benefit of all Nigerians in accordance with the provisions of this act.
All right. I think that is
So
clear.
I think that would have answered another question, or which, of course, you answered and gave him an answer that 99 years. So the governor, all land is vested in the governor.
Okay.
All land is vested. But if the governor wants to take, and that's why you take governor's consent when you are processing your certificate of occupancy.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? And it's for 99 years, after which it vests back to the governor, to the state. So, but if the governor is going to take, because under the constitution, everyone has a right to own and acquire immovable properties. That's land. One has a right to that. But one of the things, the governor wants to take a land for the good of the people, for the good of the society. Take for instance this development this parks that is coming up right now and all that. The governor taking that land, of course, is for the common use of the state. Of course, anybody that was there that had the governor's consent is entitled to compensation.
Good, fantastic. I think that answered the last question there. That
yes,
every land belongs to the government, and you can renew after 99 years. Or does it mean?
Yes, but nobody has used it for 99 years.
That's the problem.
So when we get to that beach,
we will close. That's exactly one lawyer that I had in Lagos told me that. Don't worry, when we get to 99 years, we will settle the issue. All right. The second question he asked about religion bias, and this is I think the caller was reading my mind because I was about asking that question. And when I was in Lagos, there's this issue. Even when you see advert, some will tell you only Yoruba people. Some will tell you only Igbo people. Oh, I only want a Muslim. Oh, I only want a Christian. Is there a law binding this, or is it redressable under the law?
Well, it's actually wrong, and it's even if it's against somebody. If you do it against somebody, probably me being a Christian, I try to take a property and you tell me, oh, I can't take it because I'm a Muslim. You have violated my rights to freedom of religion, and I can actually take the court on that basis too.
Fantastic.
Do you understand? Because everybody has a right under the law, and you don't discriminate. Our constitution is against discrimination. However, there's also social response to happenings. is one of the reasons I might give for it that okay, in these times and season that we have, people are beginning to be too tribal sensitive and religious sensitive. So, and you can't separate love from the society.
Yes.
You can't totally do that. So you find out that what's happening in the society has a way it can filter into contractual relationship, filter into several things. But I would just say that we are still one Nigerian, and our landlord and tenancy relationship should show the fact that we are one, and we are going to show love to ourselves.
Okay, thank you. Now, the third question is about C of O. Is there a difference in C of O? That means the occupancy and the
C of O is certificate of occupancy.
Okay. Straightforward.
Not ownership. Straightforward. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. I believe the questions have been answered correctly. 0915-2222-957. 0915-5555-957. I'm going to give chance for one or two calls this morning before I let Barrister go this morning. So, Barrister, before I let you go regarding this issue, though we might redress it later, we might go back to it later in the future, especially the land issue, because it's very complicated and is an issue in the society that a lot of people will be so much interested in. Now, buying land, is it the same law that buying property? I want to buy a house. Is it the same thing? Quickly.
Yes.
Okay, same thing. Okay, fantastic.
He who owns the land owns everything that is on it. So, same principle.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much for this enlightening and this insightful information that you've given this morning, Barrister.
You're welcome, sir. It's a pleasure, sir.
What would be your advice generally now? Let's just summarize the whole thing. What would be your advice to the tenant and to the landlord, so that we can have understandable relationship, so we will have less of issues of tenant landlord dispute or fight?
Yeah. I think the major thing I would say is each party should be fair to each other.
Good.
Especially in times and seasons. You understand? Yes, landlord has a right to his rent, but lay claim on your rent in the legal means available. Don't turn off the water system. Don't turn off. We all know how the economy is, so give understanding to that tenant, and so don't resort into self-help. And also for the part of the tenant, be fair. Understand that where you are staying right now, God has helped that landlord to be able to give you shelter at this time. So whatever means you can do, be able to just so that you pay your rent, you are at peace with your landlord. That's the major thing. And for these transactions in Oyo State, I would also say that a word to the government is let's revise our laws. Let us let the law speak to 21st century. Let it speak to the now.
Okay.
Not that we keep it from 2000 and we are still using that in 2022.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. You've been wonderful, Barrister.
Thank you very much,
for the benefit of those people that would receive want more information, that they want to consult you more further, do you mind giving out your contact?
All right. 0706
okay
278
okay
6417.
Okay, can you run that again, please?
0706
okay
278
okay
6417.
6417. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Barrister. And thank you so much for your time, because we know you people are always here and there from court to. Thank you so much.
I started from inside the car before I got to the office.
I can sense. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Yeah. Have yourself a lovely day. Thank you so much. Have yourself a lovely day, Barrister.
All right.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah. All right. All right, there you have it. Here you have it. We got the conclusion of what we started last week regarding tenancy, the landlord and the tenant right under the law. And the barrister, I've been speaking with the barrister Toluwalashe Samuel Ogundeji, who's works with the Supreme Court of Law and the legal practitioner, and he has done justice to that topic so far. But if you want further information for that, you can get in touch with me or get in touch with him. And the number to call is 0813 744 5659. 0813 744 5659. But also, if you want to advertise, you want to showcase your business and services, so I bet this is the best platform you can do that on Legal Guide. All right, on Legal Guide Wednesday. Call 08. You can come to our commercial office at number 3 and 4 Awuli Layout. Adjacent to Rita Challenge, or anybody here, Rita Challenge. You can go there. Just tell them you want to contribute or you want to sponsor your programs, your business and services on Legal Guide Wednesday or any of our program. Not only Legal Guide, any of our program. I bet this is the platform, because when you talk about law, like I said, there is no excuse in ignorance of law, in the court of law. So everybody wants to get information. Everybody wants to know the inside out of law. And that is more reason you have to advertise. You have to bring your service and your product to this platform, so that we can also add values to people. Or what do you think? Yeah, good. So come to our commercial office number 3 and 4 Awuli Layout, adjacent Orita Challenge Police Station, or you can call 0813 744 5659. 0813 744 5659. That's the number of the producer of this program. You can call. All right, thank you so much for being part of the show. We're getting to the last minute of the last leg of Soul Breakfast Show, and it's been wonderful, from the newspaper review, Yoruba and English, to sport review, sport news, to the Legal Guide is Wednesday. This comes up every Wednesday, so it's a program you don't want to miss. You have to keep it the date. Write it in your dictionary, your diary, I beg your pardon, and keep it the date every Wednesday. Tomorrow is Auto Talk Wednesday, Thursday. So keep it locked down to Soul 95.7. Coming up next at 11 o'clock is Iwoye. This is another insightful and informative program in Yoruba language that you don't want to miss, where we also talk about the society issue, topical issue that's happening in the society. Iwoye will be coming up next at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. So join Tuji Ajibade by 11. Keep it locked down and don't go anywhere. So Soul 95.7 FM, the number one radio that inspires you. Like I told you, we serve you back to back, bomber to bomber of fantastic programming, and that's why you just have to keep it locked down there. All right, we hold it down like a WWE, and we lock it down like a COVID-19. My name is Olusegun.